One thing we all have in common, most of us, I've never heard of anybody not having one of these things I'm going to talk about. But I would say most of us have many. Many, many, many. I know I do. And that is pet peeves. And what is a pet peeve? It's just something that other people do. It could be other people. It could be maybe a dog next door. It could be a lot of things. But something that you have to see, witness, or deal with in your life, not necessarily on a daily basis, but often. And it could have something to do with clothing somebody wears, maybe the latest style. It could have something to do with slang words the kids are using today. It could have a lot, it could be a lot of things. And a lot of people have it a lot worse than some. Now, a lot of my pet peeves go unmentioned. I don't see somebody doing something or wearing something that is one of my pet peeves and rush up to that person and say, "You can't wear that no more. It drives me nuts." You can't do that. Most of us do not do that. If you went up to everybody that did something that irritated you, you'd be too busy to do anything else in your life because there's a lot of irritating people out there, right? Well, let me try to think of some of the things that irritate me. And when I say they irritate me, I don't mean that I'm going to fly into a fit of rage or stomp my fists or get angry. They just irritate me, rub me the wrong way. They're things I don't like. And most of these things are things I would never do. But it doesn't make them bad. It just makes them bad for me. I would say number one on my list, well, I don't know about number one. One of the top ones, and these are all pretty petty. You're going to laugh. They're minor. But they're just my pet peeves. You can leave your pet peeves in the comments. That's what the comment section is for. Pet peeves in this video. Men that wear flat-billed ball caps. You see this a lot, probably mostly in California, and they're just a ball cap, but they're gimpy looking, and they're just flat. And they'll leave the tags and the stickers on them, but they're just flat. And then they like to pull them down to under their eyebrows. Well, when they look at you, they got to put their heads way up. I want to rip them hats off their heads and do this, curl it. The bill. That's how I was taught when I was a kid. You take your hat, you wet the bill, and you mold it. You fold it down so that it keeps the sun out of your eyes. Yep. That's what hats were originally made for. Hats like mine, ball caps, was to keep the sun out of your eyes. Baseball hats for baseball, so they could look up and catch the ball without the sun blinding them. Yeah. Yeah. But that's just one of my pet peeves. I don't see a lot of those around here. I'm in Arkansas. Maybe if I went to Little Rock, I'd see that, the gangbang type flat-billed hat. I don't know what style that is, but I'll never wear it. I have gotten hats in the past, ball caps, that had that flat bill, and you can bet I was wetting them down and heating them up and curling that thing, and some of them just want to spring back. They're made that way. People they want them that way, not me. Another pet peeve of mine, and I'll see this and also pet peeves can be things you see online. There are a lot of those. When women go into a bathroom with their iPhone or their cell phone, and they stand in front of a mirror, make that pose. They hold that phone up. Then they go post that picture online. I cringe, and I'm like, I want to post a comment. I want to say, did you know? Every phone today, on every smartphone has a feature called timer. That's right. You dig out of your dirty clothes hamper and get you a bunch of underwear and stuff and wad it up in a ball and set it up somewhere, and then you can prop your phone up. Put that dude on timer. And you don't have to stand in your bathroom. You don't have to stand in front of the mirror. The phone won't be in your picture. You can stand really nice and no phone. They won't do that. I think it's some sort of status symbol to be in the mirror. Women, when it comes to getting pictures made, they got a lot of pet peeves. Another thing that women will do is, especially if there's a group of them, they'll all get in like a semicircle. And they all got to just like hunch down and put their hands on their knees. Why do you women do that? Why don't you stand straight? Put the taller women in the back. You don't have to hunch down. It's just another one of my pet peeves. Yeah. Another one is when I'm out and about and I got to pull into a store, usually the grocery store. Somebody pulls in and you watch them. They drive around. They drive around. They drive around. And they keep doing it until the closest spot opens up. That's fine if you're 75 years old and you got the handicap sticker on your vehicle. That's fine. I can understand that. But when you get out and you're 22 years old, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just lazy. And that is a pet peeve. Yep. Yep. There's pet peeves I shouldn't have, that I think we all have. If you have to get on an airplane, there are some people who have never flown. I have flown countless times. But there are several pet peeves on an airplane, but one of them is when I see somebody get on with a baby. Now, I know it ain't their fault they got a baby, but you just know, the minute that thing takes off, that baby's going to throw a hissy fit like it ain't done in 10 years. Well, it wouldn't be a baby. It ain't done in 10 hours. And it's going to cry the whole time you're in that plane. That's just another one of mine. Another one is you get the person behind you kicking your seat. That happens every time I fly. People, I understand though. There's not much room in between them seats. But I always seem to get sat where the kicker is behind me. And usually it's probably a bratty kid sometimes. Yeah. Probably sitting next to the crying baby. That's just my luck when I fly, so I hope I don't ever have to fly again. But pet peeves come, clothing styles. A lot of guys my age, we see the worst one. Dudes walking around with their pants hanging down. Pull your pants up, man. That gang-looking stuff they're doing with their cracks showing and their underwear hiked way up, under where their nipples should be. They got their underwear up there and their pants are hanging down to their knees. And then they walk like, they got a load in there. Don't like that either. I don't have to see much of that around here either. Thank God. But what are some of your pet peeves? I forgot half the ones I have. I would have to experience them, but there are plenty. Bringing the entire family into the grocery store. That happens here all the time. They bring the entire family. And they always are looking together, trying to decide, do they want the low-fat salad dressing or the full-fledged good stuff with the sugar in it? The whole family has to make a decision on it. Sometimes they decide just not to get it and go on. And I'm not talking little 2-year-old kids. I'm talking 25-year-old kids with their parents, with their sisters. Hogging up, full-grown adults, hogging up the whole aisle in the grocery store. That's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. It's just one I have. I had several more, but the video's getting too long. People say my videos are too long. That's a pet peeve of mine, that my videos are too long, but they're not. So, Let me know what your pet peeves are, folks. Yeah, I know it's kind of a lame video, but it's important for our sanity to speak about these things. Happy trails.